Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gent. In this video, I'm going to share with you somewhat of a secret on how you can turn your portfolio into a money-making machine. Now, those of you in the Web3 Secret Society, you guys know I have been repeating this ad nauseum. I've talked a bit about this or teased this in previous videos. I decided to make a full in-depth guide to exactly how you can maximize your portfolio, 15, 20, 50x your portfolio. And no, this is not one of those strategies that the time is up and you can't use it anymore. You can literally tune out of this video as soon as it's done and take advantage of this. And I'm going to get into it right now. So before we get into it, just remember, nothing I say here is financial advice. Please do your own research, and hopefully the audio is a lot better today. Now, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter where I do go live now as well, and also make sure you follow my wallet on DeBank. And if you want extra coaching, guidance, support, the Web3 Secret Society is a fantastic community to help get you sort of sorted for the bull run. Or if you want a more intimate setting, you can schedule a private video call. So it's no secret that crypto has been booming, but obviously I know that many people were either too fearful to buy the dips in the summer. Many people don't have the capital. I know the biggest problem I found when I did that survey last week or 2 weeks ago was lack of capital was the number one thing holding people back. Because, hey, let's say Ethereum dips down to $3,000 tomorrow from $4,000. How many of you have the capital to buy it? And you're probably wondering, Brown Gent, that doesn't make any sense. You always say you're fully allocated. How is it that you can dip buy? Well, I'm going to share in this video exactly what I've done, an approach that I've used across multiple different blockchains to maximize on this. And I shared this on Twitter earlier today. In 1 year, my portfolio has gone up 23x. Yes, that has a lot to do with airdrop farming. I bought a bit of tokens as well, but the majority of it has really come from this method, which I will continue to use. So let's sort of reframe the game and let's go back to what I've been talking about for a long time, which is until recently, the majority of my portfolio was made up of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Recently, I have sold 75% of my Bitcoin and moved it into alts. I still hold a lot of ETH and I hold a lot of Solana. Now, there's a reason for this. Number one, obviously, it's less risky, but you're also probably wondering, well, the multiples aren't that great, right? I heard somebody comment on a video before, this is for boomers, like, old people. You don't really get the rate of return. But what the truly intelligent people do, and this is not me saying this about myself, but really the big whales, the big investors, the reason they hold these coins is because the risk of ruin is low. And also, these are the tokens everyone wants. And when I say everyone, I'm talking about those bigger protocols. So tomorrow, if you needed a flash loan, people want your Ethereum, or they want your Sol, or they want your Bitcoin. They don't want your fart coin. They don't want your Cerebro, because the price of those tokens, they're truly volatile. So if we take a look at Ethereum, Ethereum has ranged. Ethereum was, basically hit a yearly high of $4,073 back in March, basically a low beyond that at 2,200, and it's pretty much rebounded. And pretty much every single time I have been buying the dip on Ethereum despite being fully allocated. And the way I do this is I look for a lending protocol. My favorite lending protocol is Aave. Aave is incredible because what you can do here, and just so you guys know, before this video, I actually set up a new wallet just so I can do this live with you guys. So please, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe because I'm going to be costing myself some gas fees. So what I do here is I go and hit supply and I'll put in the token. One thing I do want to mention, I'm doing this on Base today just because I couldn't be bothered, but you always want to look for arbitrage. So first thing you do before you even deposit, how much does it cost to borrow USDC? And the reason I say USDC is I am always looking to borrow a stable coin, because in a bull market, other tokens will go up. I don't want to borrow something where when I give it back to them, the value is higher. What I want to do is borrow something that is static or actually risk of going down. So USDC is a fantastic thing to borrow because it will always stay flat. And for those people who actually find other opportunities on Sui, here's some alpha. On Sui, you can actually borrow Wormhole USDC. And the reason I like that is, let's say something happens and the Wormhole USDC gets depegged, like what happened with Harmony with the bridge hack. You're paying back almost nothing. So you actually benefit from somebody having an exploit, whereas normally we get screwed. So that's just a bit of alpha. If you ever have an opportunity to borrow a pegged asset, which, pegged USDC, or pegged stablecoin, if the bridge gets screwed up, you got to pay like 10 cents on every dollar, whereas normally you pay $1 on every dollar. So look out for those opportunities, because, hey, there's a chance it happens. Not saying, you want these to happen. But the other thing you want to do is take a look at the APY. On Base, USDC is $19, but Aave is multi-chain. So let's go to Arbitrum. On Arbitrum, USDC is $22.78. So it's actually beneficial for us to borrow from Base. But then again, you see here, we got USDT at $16.75. So far, borrowing USDT, from Arbitrum is actually the best deal. Let's keep looking. Now let's look on Avalanche. On Avalanche is 21% for USDC. USDT is 4.79. Way better, right? Obviously, keep in mind, there may be different bridging costs and everything depending on the chain you want it, but you can literally go through this and find out what the best percentages is. Let me just do one last one, which is ZK Sync. ZK Sync is 18% for USDC and USDT. So going back to this, Avalanche has the best stablecoin borrow at 4.79%. So if you want to do that, or you can go on Arbitrum and do 16.76. So feel free to go through these chains and look. Obviously, Ethereum, I try to avoid Ethereum mainnet. I don't even check the prices, even though USDT is $12.76. Transacting on Ethereum mainnet is a hassle. It's going to cost you more in gas fees than anything else. But for today's purpose, we're going to use Base just so I can show it, because I basically only put the token on Base. I will supply 0.9 ETH. Never supply all of your gas token. And the reason for this is this way you can still transact and not worry. So I'm leaving myself about 0.1. After you supply the Ethereum, what happens is you now have a claim to it within Aave. Now, if you're wondering, wait a second, because the number one question I get is, hey, Brown Jen, you talk about airdrops. Why aren't you focused on, this new protocol that also has a lending market? Their USDC is so cheap. Well, there is a risk to reward there that I'm not willing to take with a large portion of my funds. Just take a look at what happened to Polter Finance. This is a protocol that was promoted by the Sonic Lab Foundation for Phantom, or what we know as Phantom, and they were exploited, millions of dollars stolen. None of the users got their funds back, and the team has really been waffling around how they're going to solve the issue. So you don't want to just go, well, I get better percentages at these no-name protocols, because you never know if they'll have a exploit or a hack, right? I put this in quotations because a lot of these always look like inside jobs, even though obviously we can't prove any of this, and this is all allegedly. So going back to Base, right here you see I got 0.9 Ethereum in here, right? Right now I have a health factor that's indeterminate because I haven't borrowed anything, but now I can go in and borrow USDC. So I'll click the borrow button. Now I can borrow up to $2,850. Should I do it? No. And the reason for this is you want to prevent yourself from getting into a situation where your collateral's value goes down and you get liquidated. On Aave, at least with Base, your liquidation happens when your health factor is below 1. I personally like to submit a borrow that basically keeps my health factor at least at 2. This gives me about 50% drawdown in the asset before I have that issue. And also it won't happen overnight, so I can go to sleep. And if I need to bolster that by depositing more assets, I can do that. So let's just sort of borrow not 30 cents. Let's go and borrow $900. You see, that puts my my health factor at 3.31. Seems safe. And now that I do this, I'm just going to sign a transaction. So if you're wondering why I'm clicking some buttons, I got this here. Now, I typically don't recommend people just go ahead and do this for the sake of doing this. If you have something you want to buy, let's say Ethereum had dropped down, like a flash crash, it dropped to 3,500. Then you could actually go in here, borrow the USDC. And then after that's done, by the way, Aave typically has API issues. So all you have to do is refresh. You see here, I've got the $900 now in my wallet, and I'm borrowing against my 0.9 ETH in the protocol. I can still sort of borrow more. My health factor is 3.31. Risk details say here that currently I'm using 25% loan to value. It can go up to like 80% max, and 83% is my liquidation threshold. So this is why I say, guys, keep your health factor like sane. Please don't let it drop below 2, at least when you're borrowing. This allows you to have that flexibility in case there is a flash crash of sorts that you won't get liquidated. I also do not like sort of supplying other assets that are pegged to other protocols. Let's say you had the opportunity to put Easy ETH, which is Renzo's Ethereum. They don't have it here, but if they did, well, what we saw happen earlier this summer was Renzo's ETH was depegged and people were immediately liquidated. So I like doing this with the native asset and the native major. So I do this with ETH. If you did Avalanche, for example, I believe you can put the Avalanche token, right? You could also sort of bridge your ETH and do it too. I like doing the native token when possible. So going back here, I now have $900. My recommendation then is go into your Jumper exchange, and you can put in the contract address of an asset that you believe is undervalued. So let's say I want to buy $900 of virtual because it's down 20%. I will then do this, hit the review swap, go into the swap. I won't do it right here. And then once virtual's price goes up, what I will do is I will then do the opposite transaction on Jumper. So now trading whatever virtual that I bought for the USDC on base, I will then go back in here, click the repay button. Let's say I sold it for 1,100. I can now repay all that USDC back. And then what will happen is my loan can be closed and I will pocket the interest. So it's very, very simple how to do this. This gives you the flexibility to sort of buy on dips, let the thing appreciate, and sell it back. And because we're in a bull market, pretty much everything is being pulled up. So even if you play a little fast and loose with this, you're not going to get yourselves in too much trouble. Pretty much if you buy random X coin, it will go up. So borrowing USDC against your assets is a good play. Now, obviously, we can't predict corrections. They come out of nowhere. Even though we are going to trend up, you may have a small period of time where you're in the red, and that's fine because the interest really doesn't make that big of a difference. It's 19% over the course of the entire year. So if this was $1,000, you'd pay like $200 in interest, which is like, I don't know, like less than maybe like $15, $16 a month, which is nothing when you consider the actual gains that you'll get. This same approach exists on Kamino Finance or in the Solana ecosystem as well. So I'll show you what I've been doing on my wallet or one of my wallets here. This one I lent out 236.85 SOL. Once again, I borrowed about 18,268 USDS. I actually borrowed more. I paid some off earlier today. The reason I picked USDS is the same reason I showed you earlier. USDC is 24%, USDS is 14.54, and USDT is 16.37. So what I did was I borrowed USDS. I then went into Jupiter, and in Jupiter, I swapped USDS for USDC, and then I used it in the protocol to buy whatever I wanted to buy, whether I was buying Kamino token, whether I was buying some meme coins, whatever. It could even be buying the SOL token because it was on a correction. So this is a fantastic platform to use. I love using this DEX because they reward you a lot. In fact, we are literally close. Oh, you know what? The time remaining to vote is over. So let's see how it went. So as you can see here, the Jupiter 2 is going to happen. So anyone who used the protocol and sort of did it consistently and followed sort of the rules and guidelines they have for it is going to get an airdrop. And there will be another airdrop the year following. So if you use this, you will get rewarded for your activity. On top of this, Kamino Finance also has an airdrop. So unlike Aave, which is not going to do an airdrop, Kamino Finance on the SOL ecosystem is going to do their third season airdrop very soon. Don't know when, but you earn points by by lending and borrowing against what you lend. So I want to wrap up this video with a couple takeaways. So the first thing is, please, there's risk with everything on chain. Obviously, make sure you're on the right websites. I've linked the ones below. Remember, nothing I say here is financial advice. I personally avoid using the newer lending protocols, and the reason for that is the risk of an exploit where you lose your funds is much greater than any potential reward or airdrop you can get. Also, always be on the lookout for arbitrage opportunities. If you sort of are borrowing stablecoin on one, you may get a better rate somewhere else. So look for that opportunity. There are some places where you can actually borrow the stablecoin and supply it back somewhere else also for more funds. I also would recommend avoid using excess leverage. I know a lot of people get carried away with this because you don't want to make $10, $50, $100 a day. You want to just keep going fast. I promise you these base hits will add up. Just take the time. You're not going to sort of make or break it in one day. Just have those slow conviction, keep slowly adding up. And every single time you do that, the amount you grow by will continue to increase as your net asset value will also continue to increase. And by doing this, you keep your health factor low, and this prevents liquidation in the case of any correction. Now, one of the other things you can do, this is not a rule you have to follow, but I like to try to leverage only when there's a dip buying opportunity. So when you see something correct and you have conviction in the asset, that's where I tend to do that. And this is also not one of those things where, hey, you hold this forever because you are paying interest. When that asset has recovered, sell it, take profits, pay back the loan, pocket the rest, right? This is how you will continue to exponentially grow your account. I promise you, if you follow these steps, you're going to find that this will work out for you so much better. Now, I see here that Jack's asking about Zero Lend. Zero Lend, I'm not too sure about this. One of the things I would say about the Zero Lend protocol is there was somebody in the Web3 Secret Society who basically got in trouble for questioning a lot of what was going on. So guys, just please be very careful. Like, I know you want to use Zero Lend or all these other protocols. Just please be careful. Aave has survived already through the toughest of conditions. This is why I trust Aave with so much of my funds. I can't say the same about other protocols. That being said, I'm not going to babysit you guys. I leave that decision to you. I want you guys to just use these opportunities, use what we have at our disposal with DeFi to maximize your bag. Because guys, we still have like at least 3 to 9 months left of insane price action. You know, we're going to find out exactly how long that time is, but you're going to see so many more coins going up. And when that happens, you're going to have the opportunity to actually grow your bags in a massive way. So I hope you found this video very helpful. I want to thank you all for watching. I see you guys all in the comments. We're going to have an AMA very soon, tomorrow. But with that being said, if you haven't already, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time.